Ready to take your favorite Wager Talk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The Wager Talk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like Wager Talk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report, plus browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for Wager Talk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
Hey guys, welcome in and a very happy Friday to you now, December the 2nd, and we've got college basketball on our minds among a few other sports, but we got a abbreviated card tonight, but we do have a few of the big Power 5 conference matchups we want to break down for you, and we want to do it, of course, with our Friday crew, three of the best, as we welcome in the Pen. That's right, Mr. Ralph Michaels in the house. 2 R's, 1 L with Merril. Mr. Steve Merril here. And, of course, Mr. Dave Cokin in the house on this Friday. The first weekend of December is upon us here, Ralph. And curious, have you pulled anything out here over the first month of the season? Any surprises to you that are top of mind? And what do you got locked and loaded ready for the weekend here?
Well, I just want to remind people, 70.5%. That's a good week. It's a good month. That's my NFL record for the entire season. I have a 5% play. It is a teaser play. NFL, 5 straight football 5% winners. And available today, I have a 4-play, 3-sport package for $19. Dave, I follow Dave on Wager Talk Today, and seeing Gonzaga and Baylor both have 2 losses is a surprise. We've seen some teams that are going to take some time to click, on the positive side. The Big Ten sure looks pretty good. We'll see what happens when Illinois and Maryland play today, two of the top teams.
Yeah, should be interesting matchups here today on the card, certainly in the ACC, Steve Merril. We'll talk about some of those matchups, but Louisville, not great. Syracuse, not great. Florida State, not great. The conference in itself, not exactly great here. What do you got locked and loaded for us, ready to roll here into the weekend, Steve?
Yeah, it's a great time of year to be playing all sports. December is here. We have 4 major sports going. And, of course, we have World Cup and hockey. I don't even cover those. You really have 6 major sports going right now. But I've got an NBA best bet tonight on Friday. I've got the college football Pac-12 championship game between Utah and USC available on a mere 25-9, 74% all sports run the last couple of weeks. I told people in late November, get on board. This is the time of the year to be playing all sports. We've gone 25-9 since. We've got plenty more to come. Just did my top 25 college football video. That'll be live later tonight on Friday. NFL Fade the Public video tomorrow on Saturday afternoon. Yet another reason to hit subscribe and hit that bell for instant alerts right here on Wager Talk TV.
Yep, absolutely. And Dave, 70% on the season here in college basketball, continuing to roll. You mentioned, right, Baylor, Zags, 2 losses already. We saw North Carolina now on a 3-game losing streak. And even Arizona lost last night as a potential number 1. So some of the Blue Bloods may off to a interesting start so far this season.
Yeah, it's like that every year. Doesn't mean anything. It's November. It's December.
True.
Come see me come March. Well, no, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody's going unbeaten. And what's happening now doesn't really matter.
Nope. No. Houston right now, number 1. We'll see if they continue down that path for the foreseeable future. And we mentioned the ACC, guys, and boy, oh boy, got an interesting one here tonight as Wake Forest taking on Clemson in Clemson there. 3 is the number, 142 7.5 for the total in this one, Ralph. What do you think about old Clemson here taking on Wake? A little ACC. Love this. Conference play here December 2nd. Who are you leaning towards in this one?
Well, I went to the database, and this applies both to Wake Forest and to Pittsburgh. Wanted to know how teams do after pulling an upset as an away dog of 6 or more, and now they're an away dog again. Again, Wake and Pittsburgh, a team we're going to talk about in a minute, both apply. I went back to 2018. Those teams that pulled the upset and now are a single-digit away dog again have covered 56%. That number was higher than I thought. So, again, Wake and Pitt fall into that category. When you start to become a double-digit dog, it drops down to 42%. So there's a clear divide for those teams that pull the upset playing a second straight road. I like this Wake Forest team. I watched the game against Wisconsin. They've got a lot of bigs. Offenses and defenses very similar between these two as far as KenPom ranks go. Remember, Clemson is off a double overtime win. They had, I think, a 7-point lead in the last 50 seconds against Penn State. They shoot 1 of 5 free throws, and they end up going to OT, winning it in 2 overtimes. Clemson is not quite the team we're accustomed to seeing yet. Remember, the best player and one of the best players in the conference is P.J. Hall. Started on the injury list. He's played about 7 or 8 games. They're letting him play 18 or 20 minutes per game. He started his first game against Penn State, but still only played 20-some minutes. So you're getting limited. But what I do like is Wake Forest bigs. I mean, they got a couple 7-footers with Martian Bradford, and Carr's 6'10". So a lot of size, and I think they can handle P.J. Hall. I'm going to call for Wake to get a second straight upset.
Yeah, Coach, it's funny, Dave. Coach Burnell there for Clemson's like, it's really hard to work on some things when we don't have any time to practice because all we're doing is playing games. I mean, it's true at this point in the season. Who do you give the edge to here tonight?
I'll lean with Wake. Clemson's last 2 wins. This is going to be short and sweet stuff today for me, by the way. Clemson, lucky to beat California, lucky to beat Penn State. I think their luck runs out here. I make Wake Forest a very small favorite in the game, so give me the Demon Deacons in this one.
All right, Demon Deacons it is, 7-1. Steve, do they roll it into 8-1 here tonight?
Yeah, Ralph mentioned that both are pretty equal offensively, defensively, efficiency-wise, but the one big contrast for me is that Clemson plays a lot slower than Wake, and that could be the difference here, as I think Clemson obviously at home will dictate the tempo better, and as you mentioned, Joe, off the overtime game with just a couple days rest, also not looking to play fast. So we'll see if, Wake is comfortable playing that way once again. They did just play Wisconsin. We always think of Wisconsin as a slow-down team where they're 3-0-3 this season. So Wake had no problem playing slow against Wisconsin the other night, and they're playing a similar matchup here. And you guys bring up an interesting point about lack of practice. Burnell, I remember watching him his days at UNC Wilmington here in the CAA. Early in the season, you don't get a lot of practice. You can't necessarily change your momentum. And when a team is playing good like Wake, 7 out of 8 wins, 3 straight covers, they probably keep rolling. So if they're comfortable in the half court again like they were against Wisconsin, see no reason why they can't pull another upset.
Former Cleveland State stud Appleby now draining it for Wake, Ralph. I know you got his jersey somewhere in that closet there. All right, let's move on. Game number 2 here as Pitt and NC State, another ACC battle, getting it going here tonight. Double digits, 10 for NC State, 146.5. Didn't start off great for Pitt, 1-3, but they've been rolling since here. Dave, who do you give the edge to in this one?
Yeah, Pitt's a little bit of a surprise right now on the good side. I think they're doing better than was projected. I watched NC State, and they're okay, but I don't think this is a team that's going to dominate opponents in the ACC. And I think this number's too high. Based on the shot quantity data I'm looking at, I think Pittsburgh's got every chance to be in this game all the way. So I think 10's too many. I will go with the underdog in this game to at least hang in. I don't think Pitt wins it, but they don't have to get in 10.
Yeah, Pitt's won each of the last 4, I think, by double digits. So is the Wolfpack here, Steve Merril, and you know that because you watched them run over your William and Mary squad. So talk to us. What do you think about this matchup here tonight?
Yeah, it's been fun. I got to watch Pitt run over William & Mary by 16 back on November 25th, and then 4 days later, NC State played them and ran them over by 21. So common opponents would favor NC State by about 5. We tack on 4 or 5 for home court, and we're right around this point spread. So I think the odds makers are pretty accurate in this one. I think it'll be a fairly up-tempo game. NC State playing pretty fast this year. Pitt's not afraid to do likewise. And if that's the case, maybe we get a little bit of a sneaky over here. So I'll look over 146.5.
All right, little over here tonight. Ralph, how about you here? Does certainly feel like a big number. You think the Wolfpack cover it?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at William Mary team, and, NC State wins by 21. Not impressed with that. Butler, Dayton, and Kansas on neutral settings. But let's go back to even early in the year, Elon 11-point win. NC State, the better team. It does concern me that NC State has been playing some decent defense turnover-wise, and Pittsburgh has averaged over 20 turnovers per game. That's number 248. I think it's going to be a closer game. I lean Pitt, but the turnovers and Pitt being turnover-prone and now playing this type of defense kept me off the game. You look at the defenses Pitt has faced. Against West Virginia, they scored 56 against the number 24 D. Against VCU, they scored 67. VCU had the number 32 D. And this NC State team, again, is the top 80 team. Not that great, but lean Pitt. Turnovers kept me from making it stronger.
All right, leaning Pitt, but not all that much here, guys, as we move on to how about a Big Ten matchup here tonight? Illinois taking on Maryland. Maryland, the slight favorite in this one. Total is 145, 9 o'clock Eastern time here tonight. We saw Maryland run over Louisville, who hasn't. Illinois handled Syracuse. Dave, kind of like a pick'em here. Who do you like in this one?
Well, long term, I like Illinois. I think this team is going to be really dangerous come tournament time. They're still putting things together. Early part of the season, there are going to be some missteps. Maryland's played really well so far. I made this Illinois 2, so there's a little value there. But it looks to me like a game that's going right to the wire. So basically, whoever has the hotter hand late wins the game. I'll give you Illinois as an opinion, but that's as far as I'm going with it.
Fascinating matchup here, Ralph, between these two. I've had 17 turnovers, I think, Illinois forced Syracuse into. They can play some D. They're long. They're athletic. Who do you give the edge to?
Illinois, one of the fastest-paced teams with a top 40 offense and a top 10 defense. Maryland, top 20 and top 30 offense and defense, respectively. I think the line's a little high. You look at Illinois and what they've done. They put up 92 against Lindenwood, a game Dave talked about on Wager Talk today. 103 on Monmouth, 86 against Kansas City. But now you're facing a defense that Maryland's guards pressure you. So teams are in about number 300 tempo-wise, bringing the ball up. I think Illinois' offense comes down. Plus, you're playing a conference foe that knows you. Plus, you're playing an opponent that that you likely are going to play again in the season. I actually like the under here. Anytime you have two top 40 defenses, the first conference game of the year, a situation where Maryland's only played Illinois is playing their first road game. I think that changes the tempo being on the road. Give me the under in this one.
All right, looking at the under in this one here. What do you think, Steve? Side, total, two up-tempo teams, 145. How do you approach this one?
I would agree with Ralph on the under. I was going to mention that because also what Dave said, I think Illinois is the better team at the end of the season here, and they might actually be the better team now. But I just think it's a bad situation for them. First of all, I had a best bet on Illinois the other night for my clients at Wager Talk. We had them minus the 12.5 against Syracuse, 73-44, easy 29-point win. So obviously I like this Illinois squad. But what jumps out to me is first true road game in a hostile environment this year. They had the neutral courts, obviously, against UCLA and Virginia. Lost to Virginia, by the way, in that second one. But, of course, Illinois plays extremely fast. Virginia's a terrible matchup for them in that regard. So not too worried about that. But I do think with a young and experienced team being the first true road game on the East Coast here is not a good setup. So even though Illinois, probably the better team, maybe should be favored in this game, I would lean Maryland just based on the setup. We talked about this game when I was on Tuesday with these guys, and Ralph had mentioned how, Illinois had some turnover problems, and they did take care of the ball against Syracuse, just 7 turnovers, by far their best performance this season. But I think that's going to change on the road. So I would lean Maryland, and I do agree with Ralph with the under, because if there are turnover problems, that's going to take away some offensive possessions, and I think we do get under 145.
All right, under it is here tonight, guys. 3 games, 2 in the ACC, 1 in the Big Ten. Not the biggest of cards here, though, but time to see if there is one of these games these guys are leaning to a little bit more than the rest. And a quick reminder, wagertalk.com, where you go to visit Dave Cokin, Steve Merril, Ralph Michaels, as we've got college football tonight, college basketball, of course, the NBA, NHL. Plenty of opportunities to make it a really profitable first weekend of the month of December. So visit all 3 guys over at wagertalk.com. And Dave, kick us off here. Which one of these games you leaning towards?
I guess I'll go Pitt. It's the best value of the games we talked about. I don't have any selections in college basketball tonight, but this would be on the lean list. And so I'll give the Panthers plus the 10 as the best bet here on the show.
All right, love it. How about it, Merrill? Which way are you looking at here tonight for a best bet?
We're going to look at a free college basketball play, the biggest game on the board, perhaps the biggest game this week in college basketball. Baylor and Gonzaga. I'm going to give that to you free here in just a moment for Friday night in South Dakota at the Sanford Pentagon. Interesting neutral court tonight. We'll get to that in a moment. Quick reminder, though, all sports has been red hot, 25-9, 74% the last couple weeks at wagertalk.com. Right now, you can get a 3-day all-sports special for $15 off. Get it from $59 down to $44 instantly with promo code STEVE15. Details on my page. Huge Saturday college football, huge Sunday NFL. 4-0 sweep last Sunday, by the way, in the NFL. We've also got Friday night NBA best bet, Friday night Pac-12 championship best bet in college football between USC and Utah. And don't forget college football top 25 video tonight on Friday. Fade the Public Saturday here on Wager Talk TV. Let's look at Gonzaga minus the 2.5. I'm starting to see some sharp money move this line up to -3 in some locations. So if you like the Zags, grab the minus 2.5, as I do think there'll be more threes by tip-off at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight on Friday. Once again, neutral court. Gonzaga's the better offensive team by a point. You look at the efficiency ratings right now. They're number 1. Baylor is number 2. The reason these two teams each have a couple losses and have been underperforming is because their defenses have been suspect at times. But I still think Gonzaga is the better defensive team, and I think they're the more efficient team. And I like them in this spot in a high-profile neutral court game. We'll lay a couple baskets, a little over a basket. We'll lay the 2.5 with Gonzaga. Just to put it in perspective, Baylor this year on the road, neutral and road games, 3 games, they've given up 54% shooting from the field. Overall in the season, they're giving up almost 46% shooting. Gonzaga slightly better offensively. I think they take advantage. They get back on track, and we get some value with the Zags, who have failed to cover 5 of their last 6 against the spread. So all of a sudden, they're a little bit of an under-the-radar team. Gonzaga minus 2.5 goes at 8 o'clock Eastern Friday night.
All right, getting it done with the Zags here tonight. See how they react to that beat down there a couple of nights ago. Ralph, how about you? Which one of these games are you leaning towards here tonight?
Joe, I'm going to go off the board. I've been catching enough flack on Twitter for not going to the 300-plus club.
No kidding.
So does 295 count for the 300-plus club? I hope it does.
That'll work.
Last year, I think I was 8-2 on the show when I used teams in Ken Palm that ranked 300 or higher. So I'm going to Charleston Southern, who's number 295 in Ken Palm. And I apologize to you guys. I couldn't find a 300 team. But this is actually a client release for me. It's a 3% play at Wager Talk. And I'm taking Charleston plus the 10.5. You know, they're not a good team, but they're 2-4. They're 3-1 against the spread. They shoot the 3-point very well. 36% is number 92. And they face the number 41st toughest schedule in the country. So the numbers aren't fluky when you do that. You've gone to Virginia Tech. You only lost by 5. They've gone to Tulane. They played Ohio State on the road, so they have been tested. USF shouldn't be favored against anyone. They have 2 wins on the season. They have 1 home win, and that came against St. Francis, New York. One of the worst teams in all of basketball, number 351. They only won that by 15. They've lost to 3 teams that are ranked number 245 or higher. They lost to Austin Peay at home, they lost to Stetson at home, and they lost to Southeast Missouri State at home. They're a very poor three-point defensive team, number 249. They don't shoot the three well. They're a horrible free throw shooting team, number 329. South Florida shouldn't be a double-digit favorite against anyone. I'm taking the Buccaneers tonight. And again, this is an actual 3% client release.
All right, that is a client release, guys, and our friends from the Gold Sheet. They've got themselves a play they're looking at tonight as well, and it is Northern Illinois, Idaho going up and over the total, and we'd certainly encourage you guys to head over to thegoldsheet.com. Great write-ups and great analytics, great data across all of the college basketball landscape. Do yourself a favor, head over to goldsheet.com. All right, I'm going to look at probably what is going to be one of the best Formula One basketball games you're going to see tonight, and that's Eastern Kentucky and James Madison. Expect a ton, and I mean a ton of points here tonight. Going to go up and over the 158.5. James Madison, half the team had the flu last week against Valpo. They're all back. They're healthy. You got 90 points in this game coming. One more time, guys, as we wrap it around the horn, we've got Charleston Southern taking 10.5 for Ralph Michaels. The 300s are back. Steve Merril taking the Zags here tonight against Baylor. He's laying the 2.5. Dave is leaning towards Pittsburgh. The value is there, getting 10 against NC State. I'm going to go with the over with JMU, Eastern Kentucky, and our friends from the Gold Sheet. They're looking at the over as well. Northern Illinois, Idaho, over 146. Don't forget, wagertalk.com. Heck of a time to hop on board with those 3-day, 7-day, and 30-day all-access packages. Every play, every best bet, guys, go grab them. That's the way to do it. Visit Steve Merril, Dave Cokin, and Ralph Michaels over at wagertalk.com. All right, that will wrap up this week here of the College Basketball Tip-Off Show. We'll be back again Monday as the final month of the year is here. Plenty of college basketball still to come. Come back and join us on Monday. Until then, on behalf of Dave, Ralph, and Steve, appreciate the time, guys. Best of luck with all your plays this weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Good luck.
Ready to take your favorite Wager Talk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The Wager Talk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like Wager Talk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report, plus browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for Wager Talk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.